Well, what a camping experience that we just concluded at Sobal Falls, which is a beautiful place. But we had some very unusual events like fire and smoke, which has gone down into the United States. Sorry about that, people. And a bunch of guys that came up on motorcycles and demanded to have our car and tent and everything that we owned, wanting to steal it away. So I will tell you at the end how we handled that very unexpected event. So, but in the meantime, we had a great camping experience. So here we are setting up the tent, setting up all our little cozy aspects, and enjoying the provincial park, Sobel Falls. Tiniest campsite I've ever had. And I have no idea how we're going to manage this.
Is that your number? 71.
We're at 71, yeah. We're by a highway. Yeah, welcome to the highway. Sleep on the road. Man, this is small. Let me explain a little bit about this campsite. You see that area in the very back, past the tree. I actually tried to squeeze the car back into that area, and finally we gave up. But it was like, inch forward, back, turn the wheels, inch forward, back, turn the wheels, and it was kind of crazy trying to get into that. That was the most flat and open spot of the whole campsite. So finally, we gave up. Moved the picnic table over top of the fire pit actually, because we weren't going to use their fire pit, and and then we just kind of squeezed the car in between two trees, left it there, and then set up the tent because our tent goes on the back of our Honda. So we managed it, and like I said, it was the smallest site I have ever been at.
Can I do the spike?
One of the other things that happened during our camping trip was that we were entering yet another heat wave. So they were telling people, stay indoors, have light activities, and here we are setting up a tent. And it was really quite warm. So what I did is I bought an industrial size fan that runs on a lithium battery, and I had two backup batteries, which ended up using or helping us stay cool our whole trip. In fact, I only used one of the three batteries, so that's testament as to how long those batteries last, and I would definitely recommend that. It got so that we carried this little fan around with us and set it in front of us and kept us cool. Plus, it helps to keep the mosquitoes off. The mosquitoes were also really like in high numbers. And we had our lavender spray, which I love sitting there watching a mosquito go by and I spray with the lavender and down they go. But they did manage to hit me. I still got about 20 bites, I guess. However, we also had after bite, which we could apply to our bites. So, when you go camping, there's a lot of challenges ahead, but the fun, I think, outweighs, yes, it does, it outweighs the challenges and the things that you do, like sweating while you're setting up your tent or having words with one another sometimes. Like, get the poles now, come on, help me out here. This is our Napier tent that was designed to attach onto the back of our SUV, our Honda. And I thought it was neat that Napier actually watched our video and made a comment. And that was kind of neat. They told me I should submit it to their contest, which I will do. I'll do a clip and I will be submitting it. I'm pointing there to where we keep our clothes. We used packing cubes, which are really handy, and then we put them on each side of the Honda, the his and hers side. And that also is another little tip, just using these packing cubes. They work really well. There's lovely ventilation, and the first few nights were really actually too warm. Another thing I like about the tent is that you can open up all the screen areas, and it becomes like your screen room, and you can sit and enjoy a meal there without the bugs bugging you. I'm doing this the Jocelyn way. It's the only way to do it. Jocelyn, granddaughter, she said, just get inside, Grandma. Well done. The Jocelyn way. This is the Stanley way.
You shouldn't fall over there.
Stanley is the man who pounds in the pegs.
Command to what?
Pounds in the pegs. You're the pounder man.
Right.
This was our first morning. Now, a funny thing happens when we go camping. Lately, I'm the one that gets up and makes the coffee. So I had everything ready in our little coffee basket there. So I could just get up and get the kettle on and start making our coffee. Now at home, Stanley is the one who gets up every morning and he makes the coffee. And he delivers it to me in bed. I'm not about to deliver coffee to him in bed. He's still sleeping in the Honda there. But he'll be getting up shortly to enjoy the morning. The great fresh air at this point. Birds, the trees. I love the trees. And it is a good site in terms of having good tree coverage. So we got a lot of shade. That was good. Coffee was ready, and then I heated up some water so that we could have a nice little wash up right at our campsite. Convenient. Here's another little tip that I read about, and it works really well, not only with an iron pan or any kind of pan when you're camping, but it works at home as well when you're trying to clean up. You know how you buy those little hard scrubby units? You don't have to buy those. What you do is you take some Himalayan salt or some very granulated salt, pour it into your pan, and then you just take paper and wipe it around, and it cleans the bottom. It's healthy, it's environmentally friendly, I guess you could say, and it works. And not only that, it means that at home, for sure, we are no longer buying all those little scrubby pads, using them, wearing them out, and throwing them out. We can just use this salt idea. Really cool. A light lunch, and we pack our chairs and bring them along just in case we can't find a picnic table or they're all used. And we sat down and just enjoyed the view. And later we went up to a deck that was closer to the falls. Now, people walk right across these levels of the falls, and then over on the left, as you're looking at it, there's a jumping off point into a big pool of water that's about 6 feet deep. And especially kids love going into that and jumping off. It's so relaxing just being by the water and listening to it rush down over the rocks. It amazes me that nature creates a step by step like this. We have these portable chairs that are very lightweight and fold up into a little 2-pound package. And they're very convenient for taking wherever you want to sort of sit up and enjoy nature. So I would recommend those as well. Right, so I'm back. I forgot, everybody forgets something with their camping trip, and I forgot our power cord, so I lost power to the iPhone, and we had no way of knowing that there were fires north of us. We woke up one morning to this bright golden yellow sky, and I couldn't figure that out. I'd never seen anything like that before, and it turns out that was the smoke infiltrating down, and for some reason, I guess the sun above it made it yellow. Anyway, we didn't know. We went out, took our portable chairs, and we had another picnic. Then, let me see. Then our last day, in fact, the last evening, I had gone to the comfort station where they have actually great showers that was like really, really clean. Great showers, washrooms, and a washing up station where you could bring your dishes from your meal and scrub up and chat with people, and that was great. So I walked off to the washrooms, and it was starting to get a bit dusk, so I brought my flashlight with me, and it came down the road using that. When I got back to the campsite, Stanley said, "Are you a den of thieves?" And I'm, what? I didn't quite understand what he was going on about, but true to Lewy body dementia, he was having an hallucination, and that's one of the things that distinguishes it from other types of dementia, like Alzheimer's, for example. So I guess just a short time that I left him and came back, he was in a state, and he was convinced that I had come down on my motorcycle with my gang. And it's funny in retrospect, but at the time I was very concerned, actually a little bit scared. And I guess my flashlight coming down was just that light was like the headlight of a motorbike, even though there was no sound of motorbikes and there was no other people with me that I could see. And he said that I was coming to steal the Honda and the tent and everything, and I explained that it's mine, why would I steal it? But there was no reasoning with him when he was in that state. And then he said that he was going to call the police on me. And I said, "Well, you didn't even bring your phone." And that's when he said, "Well, I'll just go across to the other campsite." Then I got a little bit scared. So I thought, what do I do? Because this is all new for me and it's new for him. And when he's in that kind of state, we did talk about it later because he comes out of those states and then he's just my normal Stanley. And when we talked about it together, he did not recall any of that. He didn't know that, he was in that state. So what I did eventually, especially after when he said he was going to call the police and go to the other campsite to use their phone, I thought, I've got to just bring him to normal events. So I said, let's get ready for bed. Let's, change your shirt. Let's wash our feet, get the dust off. Let's turn on the lights that we need or turn them off. And let's just, I was reiterating each step of the way. And he would follow that, even though he was still on about how I'm the den of thieves, which is a funny comment because I'm one person, but he saw more. So this is how Lewy body's dementia shows itself on occasion. And some things I can just kind of go along with. Like if he walks up to me and he says, So you're Susan Johnston, right? It's like he's trying to gather that piece of information in his head, and those kind of things are very short-lived. So I can say, yes, I'm Susan, I'm your wife, and I just reiterate a truth. But with some of these, and he's only actually had two of them, where he's in such a state that I cannot reason him out of it. I cannot make it a short account. And like sometimes he'll say something like, "How many people are in the room?" And I'll say, "It's just you and me." And then if he insists, I'll say, "Stanley, it's a." He calls it Lewy bananas. It's a Lewy bananas thing. So that was just a wee bit scary. And the next morning when we packed up, he was still in and out of that state. So the drive home, he kept asking, "What's my name? Who do I work for? Where do I live? Is this my car? How long have I been driving?" And I thought I just answered his questions in that situation. And then when we got home, he still didn't seem to know who I was. I said, "I'm going to have a nap," because I was tired from the long drive. And we packed up and then had a long drive. And he started phoning me. So I answered my cell phone. And even when I answered my cell phone and he's standing in the kitchen and I'm in the hallway now out of the bedroom, he still didn't get it. So that kind of scared me. And I cannot say what brought him out of it. And I don't understand enough about Lewy bodies, the proteins that are, clustered in the head, why they would sort of cross up the wires and mix everything up and then release, and then he's normal. Then he's my Stanley. So this is how I sum up the camping. First of all, we want to do life as normal as possible. We don't want to suddenly change everything. A friend said, "Just keep them home and don't ever go anywhere." And I thought, you can't do that. We watched a documentary from Denmark, a seniors residence. And I'm taking a lot of my tips from that. They want you to get out into nature. And what is camping but getting out into nature? So that's just one thing. So we're trying to do life like following some of the routines and things that we're used to. I sum up our camping experience, anything that we do in life, any routine that we're involved in, it's like this. Most of the time right now, I'm with Stanley. But every once in a while, this guy Lewy shows up. So our camping was, 3 days with Stanley, and the last day, the last evening, Lewy showed up. And what a liar he is. Anyways, we're surviving it all. We're managing. So if you have someone who has Lewy body dementia, you can relate, and that's one reason why we're sharing these experiences. And Stanley would be one of the first ones to tell you, "I had an incident," or "I have Lewy bodies." And he's very open about things, as I am. So cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching and getting this far.